The rain outside tapped against the window in a steady rhythm as Jamie lay on the couch, flipping absently through his phone. Tristan had texted hours ago. Another late night at the firm, more meetings running over. Jamie wasn't surprised. It had become a pattern lately. They'd still kiss hello, still ask about each other's day, but it felt like they were going through the motions, like roommates rather than partners. He turned the volume up slightly on the TV, letting the noise fill the silence in the apartment. That's when he heard the front door creak open. Eli stepped in, shaking the water from his dark curls and tugging his hoodie off in one motion. "Still up?" he asked, flashing his usual confident grin. Jamie nodded, sitting up to make space on the couch. Couldn't sleep. Eli dropped beside him, the smell of rain and mint shampoo clinging to him. It had been 2 weeks since Tristan's cousin moved in. Just a temporary thing. Eli was waiting on a new lease downtown. Jamie hadn't expected him to blend in so quickly. But Eli did, comfortably like he belonged. They watched the screen for a while without speaking. The space between them felt close, not uncomfortably so, but present. Jamie shifted his legs, trying not to be obvious about the tension crawling under his skin. "You know," Eli said, voice low, "Tristan's lucky." Jamie turned, caught off guard. "Lucky to have you. You're easy to be around." Jamie's lips parted, unsure how to reply. Compliments weren't unusual, but coming from Eli, this one felt loaded, like it held more than he was saying. Eli didn't look away, and Jamie felt that invisible thread stretch a little tighter between them. "He doesn't really talk much," Jamie said after a beat. "Not anymore." Eli looked down at his hands. "That's a shame. I talk too much. Maybe it balances out." Jamie chuckled, but there was a hollow echo in it. He didn't want to say what he was really thinking, that he missed being seen, touched, missed having someone ask how he really felt, and mean it. The couch shifted as Eli leaned in to grab the remote from the table, brushing Jamie's thigh in the process. His fingers lingered just slightly longer than needed. Jamie didn't move. A new movie started, something with dim lighting and soft dialogue. Jamie felt every second of the silence that followed. Eli stretched, arms rising above his head, shirt lifting to expose a glimpse of toned skin. Jamie looked away immediately, heart thumping in guilt and confusion. "I should sleep," Jamie murmured. Eli nodded but didn't move. "You always sleep alone now?" Jamie hesitated. "Feels like it." "I hate sleeping alone," Eli said simply, as though it were a confession. Jamie stood, trying to escape the heat rising in his chest. "Night," he said quietly. Back in his bedroom, he sat on the edge of the bed for a long time, staring at nothing. The sheets felt cold. He pulled the blanket up anyway and turned off the light. Minutes passed. Then more. He shifted, exhaled. A soft knock came at the door, barely audible. Before Jamie could answer, it opened slowly. Eli stood there, backlit by the hallway light, wearing only a loose t-shirt and boxers. Jamie didn't speak. "I couldn't sleep," Eli whispered. "Can I just lie here for a bit?" Jamie stared at him, at the outline of his figure against the frame. His throat felt dry, but he didn't say no. Eli stepped inside and closed the door gently behind him. He didn't turn on the light. He didn't ask again. He just walked to the other side of the bed, slipped under the covers, and lay there, so close that Jamie could feel the warmth radiating off him. Neither of them moved. Jamie kept his eyes on the ceiling, heart pounding so loudly he was sure Eli could hear it. Their breathing slowly synced. One inhale, one exhale. Then Eli's fingers brushed Jamie's hand beneath the blanket. Jamie didn't pull away. He didn't speak. He just closed his eyes and let it happen. Jamie woke before the alarm, the room still wrapped in the hush of early morning. Pale light bled through the curtains, casting muted shadows on the wall. For a moment, he forgot Eli was beside him, until he felt the warmth at his back. Eli's arm was draped lazily across his waist, their legs slightly tangled beneath the sheets. It wasn't just the proximity. It was the way Eli held him, like it was normal, like this was something they'd done 100 times. Jamie eased out of the bed, careful not to wake him. His feet hit the cold floor as guilt surged up like a tide. He didn't want to look back, but he did. Just once. Eli looked peaceful, lips parted slightly, one hand resting where Jamie had been seconds ago. Jamie left the room. In the kitchen, he stood at the sink, pouring water into a glass and staring out the window like the world outside could offer clarity. But it didn't, only more noise in his chest. Tristan came home around noon, dropped his laptop bag on the counter, and leaned in for a quick kiss on Jamie's cheek. He looked exhausted. Jamie offered a smile, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Thanks for keeping Eli company," Tristan said, pulling out leftovers from the fridge. "He's lucky to have someone chill like you around." Jamie's stomach turned. Later that evening, the three of them had dinner together. Jamie barely spoke. Eli, on the other hand, was his usual self, light-hearted, teasing, even charming in a way that didn't seem out of place unless you knew what had happened, unless you felt the same magnetic pull that still crackled between them under the surface. When Tristan went to bed early with a headache, Jamie stayed back to clean up. He was halfway through wiping the counter when Eli appeared beside him, holding 2 glasses of wine. "Nightcap?" Eli asked, eyes locked onto Jamie's. Jamie hesitated, then nodded. They sat on the couch, a respectful distance apart. Jamie tried to focus on the quiet jazz playing from his phone, but Eli's gaze was heavy. When Jamie looked at him, there was no mask, no pretending, just intent. "We don't have to talk about it," Eli said softly. Jamie's grip tightened on the glass. "Maybe we should." Eli leaned forward slightly. "You didn't stop me." "I didn't stop myself," Jamie whispered. Eli reached over, setting his glass down. "I'll leave in a few days. I'm not here to mess anything up, but I also don't believe in ignoring what's real just because it's inconvenient." Jamie looked away. "You think that was real?" "You tell me," Eli said, leaning in. His voice dropped. "Because right now I still feel it. I know you do too." Jamie stood abruptly, heart racing. "This can't happen again." Eli didn't move. "Okay, then tell me to leave. Tell me you don't want this." Jamie's mouth opened, but nothing came out. He wanted to say no, to shove the door shut on this crack they'd both slipped through, but the words betrayed him. "I thought so," Eli whispered, standing slowly. He walked past Jamie, brushing shoulders as he did. Jamie turned, watching him disappear into the hallway. The wine glass trembled slightly in Jamie's hand. That night, he crawled into bed beside Tristan, who was already asleep. The weight of the sheets felt heavier than usual. Tristan shifted, reaching for Jamie in his sleep, his hand settling on Jamie's chest. The gesture, so familiar and sweet, pierced deeper than any accusation. Jamie stared into the darkness, every thought a war. He didn't hear the door open this time. He only felt it, a quiet creak, a breath of air, and the unmistakable presence of Eli once again. The mattress dipped behind him. Jamie didn't turn, didn't speak. Fingertips brushed the back of his neck, then paused. "Say stop," Eli whispered. "Just once, and I will." But Jamie stayed silent. And in that silence, everything happened again, slower, heavier, more deliberate. There was no resistance now, only surrender. A quiet unraveling of what Jamie thought he knew about loyalty, about need. And once again, he didn't say no. Sunlight streamed to the blinds, casting warm slats of light across the bedroom floor. Jamie sat on the edge of the bed, shirtless, his head in his hands. He hadn't slept. Not really. His body had rested. But his mind had been pacing all night, replaying everything in loops. Eli's whispers, the weight of his touch, the way he left without a word just before dawn. Tristan stirred behind him, groaning as he rolled over. "You're up early," he mumbled, eyes barely open. Jamie turned, forcing a small smile. Couldn't sleep. Tristan rubbed his face and sat up, glancing at the clock. "You okay?" "Yeah, just a lot on my mind." Tristan reached out, his hand resting on Jamie's back. "Let's take a weekend, just us, somewhere quiet. No phones, no work. We haven't done that in a while." Jamie's chest tightened. "Yeah, that sounds good." But it didn't. Not right now. Not with the way guilt sat in his throat, like a stone. In the kitchen, Jamie poured coffee with shaking hands. Eli entered shirtless, towel around his neck, fresh from a shower. He looked relaxed, humming to himself as if nothing had happened, as if the air between them wasn't thick, with everything unspoken. Jamie kept his eyes down. Morning. Eli said casually, reaching for a mug. Jamie didn't answer. Eli stepped closer, voice low. So we're pretending again? Jamie shot him a look. Don't do that. Eli raised an eyebrow. Do what? Act like this is some game. It's not, Eli said, quieter now. But I'm not the one who has to lie to someone every morning. Jamie flinched. You should go. Today. Eli's smile faded. I told you, I didn't come here to cause problems. I just didn't expect you to feel it too. I didn't mean for any of this to happen. But it did. Eli leaned in, his tone sharp but sincere. And you didn't stop it, either time. Jamie didn't reply. He couldn't. Later that afternoon, Jamie found himself alone again. Tristan had gone to pick up groceries. Eli was in his room, door shut. The apartment felt colder, quieter than usual. Jamie wandered into the guest room, Eli's room, without knocking. He stood there, taking in the messy bed, the open suitcase, the scattered clothes. Eli looked up from where he sat cross-legged, headphones in, laptop on his thighs. Need something? Jamie crossed his arms. Why are you so calm? Eli took his headphones off. Because I've already accepted it. I'm not the one who's in denial. Jamie stepped forward, voice low. You think this is easy for me? No, Eli said, meeting his gaze. I think it's killing you. And I think you're trying to hate me so you can avoid hating yourself. Jamie exhaled sharply, as if punched in the gut. Eli stood. Look, Jamie, I don't need you to pick me. I don't need some big confession. But you should ask yourself what you want, what you really want, before you keep lying to someone who trusts you. Jamie left the room without saying another word. That night, Tristan lit candles. They ate pasta and drank wine. He tried, really tried, to reconnect. He talked about the beach trip they could take, the gallery downtown he wanted Jamie to see. Jamie nodded, laughed in the right places, but he wasn't really there. Every smile felt like theft. When Tristan stepped away to take a work call, Jamie stood at the sink, washing dishes slowly. Eli appeared again, quiet as always, leaning in the hallway, watching. I'm leaving tomorrow, he said. You won't have to see me again. Jamie nodded, probably for the best. Eli took a step forward. But don't forget what this felt like, even if you bury it. He turned and walked back to his room. That night, Jamie lay awake beside Tristan, who slept soundly, breathing slow and steady. The apartment was quiet. No footsteps this time. No door creaking open. Just Jamie, alone with everything. As the hours crawled on, Jamie finally rose, padded barefoot to balcony, and sat in the dark, city lights flickering below. He whispered to no one, I didn't mean for this to happen. But he knew, deep down, it wasn't about what he meant. It was about what he allowed.